and this will be pattern of the week slot. Oh, can't wait for that. Today, Richard's knitting himself a stomach.
God, seeing that action does not make your eyes water, but nevertheless, Independence Day, the game is almost upon us. Basically what we've got here is Afterburner with a few tentacles, but it does feature some very nice graphics, lots of flying, and enough xenophobia that you could possibly wish for in a game. It might be unrealistic to assume it's going to repeat the success of last year's blockbuster, but it's looking up to be a very, very smart game indeed. Coming soon on PC, Saturn, and PlayStation.
Could you make mine a double ghost cheese, won't you, butter? Thank you, Julian. Well, due to the new spirit of Games World, our multi-talented reviewers have been diversifying this week. And to this end, I'm afraid to tell you that as nice as this year's swimwear collection is, our reviews will be staying well away from the catwalk in future. Unfortunately, the bikini didn't go too well on young Richard. By Jiminy, from here on in, the reviewers will stick to reviewing games. Today's console racing games are becoming frighteningly realistic affairs. The ethical questions alone are staggering. Think about it. Underage road rage, virtual whiplash. Where does it all end? And now, despite all the warnings, they're trying to do the same on the PC. Yes, that's right. Oh, it used to be such a quiet, polite machine. And now look at it. The international tracks, the millions of selectable cars, running over gear. Oh, it can't be healthy, can it? There's even a few new features to tempt our hapless and gullible youth. There are cyber tracks where youngsters can tear up a virtual reality. There is 10-player competition mode, and there's even a responsibility destroying satanic rock and roll soundtracks. Ooh, we must end this cycle of destruction and get PC owners playing those nice pointy tricky games they always used to. It's not good enough, damn it! Ban this filth now! Power to the people!
Richard's still out there somewhere, stuck in some list somewhere. I don't know really what's going on, so it's down to me to present this one again. First up tonight we've got GT Racer. This game's fairly average, really. I mean, there's a lot of games like this floating around at the market at the moment, and if you like these things and you're addict to these things, it's probably a good move. If you've got the steering wheel and the pedals, fine. If you're on a keyboard, it creates a few problems. Doesn't handle too well. It's too realistic, to be perfectly honest. I mean, the thing, you put on the brakes, you're going to spin out. It's just too sensitive, man. I don't know.
I'm sick of this situation, I really am. You spend £1,000 on the PC and you end up with a racing game like this. I mean, we have consoles for 200 quid, which produce far better racing experiences than this one. Just graphics, just sound. The car handles like a large cow. I'd just avoid this one if I were you. Buy a PlayStation. Save yourselves the grief.
I'm sure this nostalgia cannot be healthy. What happened to the shock of the noob? Whatever happened to running energetically into the future, shouting defiance to the gods and ready to face impossible odds? Well, it seems people want to play old platform games instead. So much for modernism. There's no denying these games are design classics, but then so is the Eubank carpet cleaner, and you don't see many of those about in this day and age, and quite rightly so. I should hope this collection of games needs no explanation. There's the blue furry one, his stealing echidna companion, and a lot of rings. Bumblebees, daisies, waterfalls, etc., etc. It's safe to say that this is identical to the original Mega Drive version, but when you've spent about £1,000 on the home version of the HAL 9000, you would expect as much, really, wouldn't you? I know I would.
If you don't know who Sonic is, then welcome to this planet, yeah? Sonic's been around for a long time, gracing the Sega Mega Drive and the Sega Saturn. Now he's out on PC for you to check out, I suppose. But it's just a dodgy compilation, really. You've got Sonic 3, and you've got Sonic and Knuckles, a couple of screensavers, and that's about it. I mean, if you're a die-hard Sonic fan, go for it. If not, then there's better things out there, guys.
Now this is a strange choice for the PC. Basically, all the Knuckles games in one package, and that means all the backwardly compatible ones, including Sonic 3 as well. I mean, you don't need an introduction to this game. They're colourful, they're timeless, and they're very, very playable. But the original Sonic game was an awfully long time ago. I think we need something a little bit newer than this. But it's still a blast.
Ah, the reviewers, bless them. This week it's games. Next week he'll be Nalvardas. I really am such a tremendous character. Oh, that's all about it, you see? Variety, that's what the new game's all about. See that? We'll have Richard and Judy eating out of our hands before the week is out. What do you think? Barry and Judy? Richard, Barry and Judy? Richard, Barry, Richard punching Judy? Judy, Barry, Richard and the security guard from the supermarket? It could happen. Anywho, here's Richard with a lovely look at some brand new emulators.
Hello. You're probably wondering what I'm doing here. But when you've finished with the console you've spent hundreds of pounds on, it usually ends up in a place like this. A warehouse, an attic, or it's very unlucky, a landfill. It doesn't have to be like that. Thanks to the PC emulator scene, consoles like the PC Engine here are enjoying something of a late revival.
The PC Engine can very rightly be called a cult item. It was never officially released in England, but it caused quite a stir back in the mid-80s. It was the first machine ever to get Bomberman. It was also host to the archetypal 2D sideways-on scrolling shoot-'em-up, like Sidearm Twist.
Right, so you've seen some of the games, here are the machines. Now, this is the very first PC Engine, which came out in Japan about 1995. As you can see, it looks rather like a slice of bread, but it was very powerful for its time. The joypad resembles an NES pad very much. Now, that's the original machine, but the real collector's item is this, the PC Engine GT, which was the first colour handheld in the world, and to date, still the most powerful. You don't see many of them about these days, but if you see one, nab them, because they're a real find. And you can even get Street Fighter for it.
The emulator is very easy to find. Just log on to your local search engine and do a search under PC Engine. Download it with a few games, and there you go. Instant Gallagher. By the way, if this sequence looks familiar, that's because they nicked it for the loading screen for Ridge Racer. Now that's progress for you.
Right, let that be a lesson to you. You may be sat there all smug because of your brand new N64, but remember, one day...
It's 6:33. Stop it, Paul! Later on in the show, we'll be interviewing the president of Scotland. In the meantime, here's the review. Oh, of the evening papers. You know, the posh ones. Like the one with the eagle on the front. Is it just me, or has the craze for resurrecting the computerized heroes of yesteryear gone just that one step too far? Bumsy 3D? What's next? The fully light-sourced intergalactic shoot-'em-up starring Possum Pigeon. Nevertheless, the rumours are true. The Bobcat has returned, and now you shamble about in any direction you so want. Young Bubsy may have a brand new 3D environment to explore, but it's not all a walk in the park. Danger comes in the form of the game's terrifying adversaries. The evil, conniving, ruthless, Woolly. Now, I don't know why they're called that either, but they probably stab people to death with knitting needles or something hideous like that. Bubsy may not be the highest profile video game star you can think of, but it's quite nice to have him back on our screens to remind us of the days we juggled our joypad in 2 dimensions, and we're more than happy with just that.
Richard is still not here. I don't know what's going on with this. This is just getting stupid. We've loaded down some food and a bucket, but you never know, he might get here eventually. Anyway, first up tonight we've got Bubsy 3D, PlayStation's answer to Mario. Don't expect too much on this one. It's not half as enjoyable, it's not half as visually impressive, and it's not really that fun at all, to be perfectly honest. This game's been around for a while. It's been out on Mega Drive. It graced the formats of the 16-bit genre a while ago. Bugsy the Bobcat's back, and I ain't going to play with him.
Now, this is a game we thought would never be released. We previewed this about 7 years ago, and it didn't look so good then. It's been taken back and debugged to death. And it's alright, it's just not brilliant. I mean, we're seeing a lot of innovation at the moment. We've got Mario 64 and a lot of 3D stuff coming out. This is basically just scraping an above average platform fare. And let's face it, Bugsy was never the best of cartoon heroes, was he?
I've always had a thing for roads. Lovely, flat, grey, snaky things that they are. Oh, I've always been quite fond of rail tracks as well. Unfortunately, the life of this type of connoisseur is not an easy one. You get run over a hell of a lot for a start. Never fear though, help is at hand, because someone's made a game where we can indulge our darkest infrastructure fantasies without ever having to chew tarmac again. That game is Transport Tycoon, and once loaded you can lay as much road as you like. Yes, you can! Cut through those forests, demolish those retirement homes, build a shiny new ticket office in a graveyard! You can do whatever the heck it is you want without the interference of those normal idiots who don't appreciate the liquid beauty of a finely crafted flyover. From now on, your life will be filled with beautiful curbs, perfectly fashioned zebra crossings, underpasses, footbridges. Oh, and it says here that you've got to make money as well.
Second up tonight, we've got Transport Tycoon. Already this week, we've already had one sim game. Here's another one. This game's been around for quite a while on PC. I think it was 1994 it first came out as the sequel to Railroad Tycoon. Basically, it's another God game. You're in control of setting up distribution points, railroads, buses, boats, planes, the whole hog. It's a bit too realistic for some people's taste, but if you're a fan of the genre, I recommend it. Other good point about this game is it only costs 50 quid. When I say only costs 50 quid, you probably think it's a bit steep, but they also throw in a mouse. Definitely a good buy, definitely worth getting your hands on.
Well, another old game gets a reworking treatment, and this time on the PlayStation. This is Transport Tycoon, which is just about everybody's old favourite winter sim game. It's not as complicated as a traditional sim game. It's quite easy to get into, and it's as playable as all get out. It's fab. It's funny. It's timeless. Go and get it.
Yeah. Thanks, Mum. Oh, I'm glad you're enjoying it. No, I was just saying to Peter Sisters the other day, I was saying, Petey, Peter, Pete Meister, or as us who really know him, call him... Yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed it. Okay, well, we're live coast to coast. All right. Okay, warm socks, pack the Lego away, get your hoops to tea. Okay, bye, Mum. Oh, God, love a duck, that was hard work. At least you didn't see Bernie the Comedy Union. She has an unnatural fear against glove puppets, was my old mum. All right, now for the second part of our wonderful behind-the-scenes feature of Dungeon Keeper. You better enjoy it. As for me, I need to lie down and a bucket of fried chicken.
Everything that we could think of that we would imagine that would be in the most fantastic dungeon we put in.
The major contribution of mine to Dungeon Keeper must be the lighting, I suppose. Just about everything in the game casts shadows. Basically, you get one light source, you get one shadow per creature. Two light sources either side, the shadows pan around past the creatures. Fireballs have light, dungeon hearts have light, creatures have light, lightning has light, which is not surprising exactly. I don't think any other game on the planet's got anywhere near as much lighting detail as Dungeon Keeper's got.
The dungeon actually runs even while you're in control of a single creature, because the computer takes over the way that you're controlling the dungeon. So while you're scuttling around the dungeon in a cockroach, so the computer is looking after the rest of your dungeon. And if necessary, you can jump out of that creature, check on how the computer play's doing, and then jump back in again.
Once you've built and populated your dungeon to a certain degree, you'll tend to find you've also gained the interest of the adventurers. They're the squeaky clean, disgusting little individuals who tend to attack your place, steal your money, kill off your creatures, all those sorts of unpleasant things.
And you use your creatures to defend your dungeon against these robbers.
There's the trolls, which are like beer-drinking shag monsters, down the pub, kebab afterwards, that kind of thing. Generally good for just like a bit of a ruckus.
You rarely actually have full control over your creatures, though. I mean, they're basically evil little entities which all have their own lives.
The fact that you can be a fly around and be sick on people, I mean, that nobody can knock that, can they?
If you do want complete control, you have to actually click inside the creature's head and look out through his eyes.
Once you've done this, you take on all the creature's abilities and you actually become that creature.
Oddly enough, it's great fun being a vampire.
Yes, it is.
Alex Peters, support programmer.
My involvement in Keeper has included the front end and the scripting language. The other thing I've been doing is the network game, which is obviously very important.
Yeah, multiplayer games these days are becoming increasingly important. They do extend the life of single-player games a great deal. We've got the deathmatch game, which is like a Doom-style game where you take control of different creatures and attack each other in first person. There's the Keeper versus Keeper game where you play against enemy dungeon keepers, and there's the Hero versus Keeper game as well, where you play the part of a hero attacking another person's dungeon.
And also, after Keeper finishes, we'll be doing Internet Keeper, which will allow hundreds of players to play across the world.
Which is nice.
It's not like most other games. Most other games seem to concentrate on the light side of things. There are a few notable exceptions, but even those don't seem to really appreciate the true darkness. Dungeon Keeper is truly a dark game.
It's the most challenging game that I've ever worked on, and I think the best game. To Dungeon Keeper.
To Dungeon Keeper.
Your creatures are falling. Your creatures need more living space.
Oh, thank goodness for that, viewers. Everything's back to normal. Back to wild-eyed, hell-raising parties. Ladies and gentlemen, I therefore present to you the one that only he's rude, he's naughty, like John Travolta from Get
And in the green strip, playing from right to left. And your early views, please, Ricky Boy.
Well, Eagle started with a fury here. He's broken into Killer's half, and he's just running for that line. Unfortunately, he seems to be running through the middle each time. They really should listen to what I tell them, because the L1 and the R1 buttons at the top of the PlayStation pad will pass the ball. He even tried to go for a drop goal there. Unfortunately, he pressed the punt kick button on the PlayStation pad, and all that did was put it into the Killer dead zone.
So we're witnessing here a bit of power play. We're not going to be watching some exhibition rugby, that's for sure, because he just seems to be getting the ball and then charging through the middle there. Oh, a loose ball. Now somebody's got to pick this up very quickly indeed. It's still loose and it's running down towards the South African end. He's got it. Yes, well done. Eagles scored a try. A wonderful try. They just kicked it down into the drop zone and managed to get a try. Now here we go for the conversion. Remember, get the arrow length. Oh, give the strength of the kick. That's it. Line it up like that. Big kick. There we are. Nice conversion. And already early into this game, New Zealand are leading 7-0. Eagle has 7 points. Killer has zilch.
Yeah, Killer really needs to try and turn this one round. Killer is playing a very defensive game at the moment, but even his defence sucks. He's certainly not living up to his name. Eagle, on the other hand, is flying like a bird with his wing backs, certainly, because they're flying down the wings and he's managing to get the ball to them occasionally. But he's still trying to run it through the middle of the pack. That will not work. He'll just end up in a rut. It'll be all horrible and it'll be like the chip shop on a Friday night.
Somebody managed to score a try like that.